Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. I've already gone ahead and casted on 84 stitches and joined in the round. And for rounds 1 through 4, we are going to knit each round using our white yarn. And rounds 5 through 8, we are going to knit each round using our red yarn. Repeat rounds 1 through 8 until your hat measures 10 inches or your desired length. Keep in mind that this is going to be a double brimmed beanie, so we are going to be folding it in on itself. So the red and white stripe portion will be half of whatever length that you knit to. So I'm knitting to 10 inches. So when I fold it in half to make a double brim, it's going to be about 5 inches in length. So, like I said, super simple. We are just going to knit 4 rounds in white, just like this. So just keep knitting and I will meet you at round 5, where I will show you how to change colors and how to create a jogless stripe. Okay, I've just completed round 4 and I'm ready to start round 5 and add in my new color. So what I do is cut my working yarn and leave a bit of a tail. And then I'm going to insert my needle into the first stitch as if to knit, and then drape the new color over the tip of the right hand needle and pull it through just like you would a knit stitch. Then what I like to do is tie a double knot with my old color and my new color, and this just ensures that it is nice and secure. And then we are just going to continue on knitting. Don't worry about those ends, we can weave them in later. But what I want you to do is, for round 5, I want you to knit the entire first round. And once you make it back to the stitch marker, I'm going to show you a little trick to help you create those nice, beautiful jogless stripes. So go ahead, knit the entire first round, and when you make it back to the stitch marker, I will show you how to do that. Okay, so I have just completed knitting round 5. We're going to move our stitch markers over. And before we begin knitting round 6, I want you to look here. You can see there is our first red stitch right here. And right below it is our white stitch, a white stitch. And you can see that V shape. So what we're going to do is, using the tip of our right hand needle, we are going to pick up the right leg of that stitch below and place it onto our left hand needle. And then we are going to knit both the red and white stitch together. And that is it. This little trick is going to help you get those beautiful seamless jogless stripes. So you're going to want to do that every time you change colors. And so now we are on round 6, and you are just going to continue knitting. So rounds 6, 7, and 8, continue knitting them in red. And like I said before, you're just going to repeat rounds 1 through 8 until your striped portion is the length that you would like. So again, I am knitting until my striped portion is 10 inches. And once you are happy with your length, I will show you how to create that double brim. So I have gone ahead and repeated rounds 1 through 8 until my hat measures 10 inches. So I'm just going to double check. Yep, we are at 10 inches. And so now I'm going to show you how to create a folded brim. Don't worry about the curling at the bottom. You're going to be folding this hat in on itself, so that's not going to be a problem. So just wanted to reiterate that you can knit your beanie as long as you'd like it. Just keep in mind that the length of your striped portion is going to be half of whatever length you knit to. Also, wanted to show you, you might want to go ahead and change your color before creating the double brim. If you can see here, this last red stripe, there's this extra line of red. Last time I did this hat, I didn't switch colors before creating the folded brim, and it just adds an extra round in your stripe. So I don't really like that because it makes it look uneven and unbalanced. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the navy blue or whatever color you want your top portion to be. Change to that color before you create the folded brim. So I want to show you a trick in order to get a nice straight brim. You don't want your stitches to be off center, or your brim is not going to look nice. So I recommend that you get some sort of stitch marker that you can clip onto your knitting and take off very easily. So I'm going to zoom in here so I can show you. What you want to do is find the very first stitch on your left-hand needle. Okay, and you want to follow that column of stitches all the way down to the bottom. So very carefully, all the way down to the bottom, we're tracking our first column of stitches. And then you're going to want to go ahead and mark that very bottom stitch, the last stitch. So once you've marked your stitch, I would recommend going back and just double checking, making sure that you didn't mark the wrong stitch, and just making sure that the top stitch is perfectly aligned with this bottom stitch. And like I said before, this is really important because if your stitching is a bit off as you create that double brim, it can cause your brim to be uneven or even kind of bunched together. So we want to avoid that. Okay, so I'm going to cut my old yarn and go ahead and add in your new color. So whatever color you want the top to be, I would recommend adding that yarn in before we create the double brim. So I am just going to tie these two colors together. Just a simple double knot to make sure that it's secure. We're going to be hiding these ends anyway, so you're not going to see the join. Okay, so we've joined in our new color, and now we are going to, starting at the bottom, fold the hat in on itself. So we're folding it in half and bringing the bottom of our hat up through the center. And it can be a little bit of a fiddly process. It doesn't have to be completely perfect right away. Just make sure that your bottom stitch marker is perfectly aligned with the first stitch on your left-hand needle. Okay, so now I have my first stitch on my left-hand needle perfectly lined up with the bottom stitch that I had marked earlier. Once they are aligned, so they're right next to each other, we are going to begin creating that double brim. We're basically knitting the top of the hat and the bottom of the hat together, and that's going to create that nice insulated double brim. So hopefully you can see these little V-shaped stitches where my stitch marker is coming from. You can see that those are little V-shaped stitches. So what we're going to do is, using the tip of our left-hand needle, we are going to pick up the back leg of that stitch that we marked earlier. And I'm going to carefully remove my stitch marker. And then using our new color, so the blue, we're going to knit the two stitches together. So once you get that first stitch knit together, it's a lot easier to keep track of your work. So you can kind of see the next stitch, there's that V shape. So what we're going to do, again, we are going to, so here's the next V-shaped stitch. We're going to pick up the back loop of that stitch with our left needle and then knit those two stitches together. And I'll show you this again. So then move to the next V-shaped stitch. Right there, there's that V shape. We're going to pick up the back leg of that V-shaped stitch using our left-hand needle. We're going to pick up the back leg and then knit those two stitches together. Move along and find the next V-shaped stitch and pick up that back leg with our left-hand needle. Knit two together. Find the next V-shaped stitch. Pick up the back leg with our left-hand needle and then knit two together. And so that's it. You're just going to keep repeating this process until you make it all the way back to the stitch marker. And so as you can kind of see, if I can focus it, we are just really knitting the bottom of our brim and the top of our brim together. So just repeat this until you make it all the way back to the stitch marker, and then I will show you what to do from there. Okay, so this is what your brim should look like once you have completed the double brim. And I just really love this look. It is super insulated and really cute. So this is what it should look like. And like I said before, you can definitely adjust the length of your double brim. It's totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and double check. So remember, we knit to 10 inches, so this should be measuring at about 5 inches, which it is. So just keep in mind the length of your hat as you're working. So I want my total length to be 9 inches when complete. So the brim is 5 inches, so I'm going to want to knit the blue portion for about 2 inches because the decrease will also add about 2 inches. So just keep that in mind as you're working your hat. Okay, this is the easiest part of the hat. All we are going to do is knit each round in our new color, so blue for me, until our hat measures 7 inches total when you measure from the bottom of our brim to the top. So we're just going to knit, 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 knit. I mentioned earlier that our decrease is going to add 2 inches. So you just want to make sure that you're keeping that in mind when you're deciding where to end your hat and begin decreasing. Okay guys, that is it. So just keep on knitting and I will meet you whenever you're ready and I'll show you how to decrease your beanie. Okay, so I'm just going to check my measurements. Like I said earlier, I needed to knit until my hat measured 7 inches from the bottom of the brim all the way to the top, which it does. And so that means it should be about 2 inches of blue. Okay, and so now we are going to begin decreasing. Okay, for the first round of decrease, we are going to knit 10 stitches and then knit 2 together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then knit the next 2 stitches together. And so you're just going to repeat this until you make it all the way back to the stitch marker. Okay, so for round 2, we are simply going to knit 9 stitches and then knit 2 together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then knit these next 2 stitches together. And that's it. You're just going to repeat that until you make it all the way back around to your stitch marker. So I'm not going to show you each and every round. It's going to be really obvious. It's going to be knit 9, knit 8, knit 7, knit 6, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you a couple more and then leave you to it. Okay, we are on round 3 of our decrease. So we are going to knit 8 stitches and then knit 2 together. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then knit these next 2 stitches together. And that's it. You're going to repeat that until you make it back to your stitch marker. So like I mentioned before, it's going to be very redundant if I show you each and every one of these steps. So just follow the instructions. I have them listed above. And once you have finished, I'll show you how to cinch your beanie. Okay, this is what your hat should look like. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut our working yarn and leave a bit of a tail, maybe 6 to 8 inches, so that we can cinch our beanie. Then you are going to thread that yarn into a tapestry needle. And we are going to remove our stitch marker, and then let me zoom in for you. Remove our marker, and then we are going to slip these stitches onto our tapestry needle, making sure that we are not tied up and twisted. All right, now we are going to slip each stitch onto our tapestry needle and then pull that tail through those stitches. And we're just going to keep doing that until we have all of our stitches onto our needle, our tapestry needle. And then we're just going to pull nice and tight and cinch our beanie. Then what I like to do is go in through the top loops. It's hard to see because I'm using such a dark color, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm going through the top loops and I am winding my yarn underneath, kind of pulling and tugging as I go. And then what I like to do is run the needle through the center of the beanie at the top. Pull through. And then just tie a little knot and then weave in the end. And here it is. This is the finished look. I love this hat. It is actually so simple to make, but it's just a cute, fun hat. I would totally recommend this for a beginner, for someone who is interested in learning how to knit stripes, wants to practice, maybe someone who wants to learn how to create a double brim. Although it's simple, there are a lot of really cool, fun techniques used in this hat. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's check out the crown. It's kind of like a little spiral crown, but I love it. It's super cute, and I hope that you guys enjoy these videos. I hope you're loving my tutorials. Seriously, I'm having the best time coming up with these patterns and sharing them with you guys. So if you could hit that like and subscribe button, help me grow my channel, that would be so appreciated. As always, keep it cozy, and I will see you in the next one.